Hello, welcome back to my channel, you beautiful humans. So, I just want to go ahead and do a wrap up for all the books I read in July. So, I ended up reading 9 books. So, it was a very good and very successful month for me. And I did my yes, no, maybe, and I think I rated all of them yes. So, great month. I have my mic because my AC just kicked on. I prefer to record without a mic, but it is what it is. And so I'll just hop into it and tell you a little bit about what I read, how I felt about them, what the book was about, and so on. I read The Women by Kristen Hanna. This one is a historical fiction that I actually got for free. I was in Atlanta and I got it from a veterans building, which was very fitting. So I remember telling you guys I did not know if this was about the women in war or the women whose husbands was in war. This centers around a young woman who decides that she is going to Vietnam. Her brother went off to the army, I believe, yes. And his friend told her women can be heroes too. And that really struck with her. And so I'm going to put this down. We're talking about the women. And so she decides she also want to join the military, and so she tried different branches that would take her, and she wanted to go immediately. And so she ended up, I believe, also going into the army. Yeah, I think she tried the navy first. Now I'm thinking I don't actually know what branch her brother was in. But anyway, so she goes to the military. She does nursing school prior to going in the military. So she goes in as a nurse. And it made me realize that I actually didn't think about there being women in the military at the time of the Vietnam War. Like, I just don't think I thought about it. It was really enlightening to read. And then it also was sad because she become friends with the other nurses there and they draw close to each other because only they knew what they were experiencing. They were seeing the soldiers come in who were dying, who needed care, who needed, whatever. And so it was very sad for her. And at the same time, she's in a place where she's hearing bombs go off and, she's seeing people with missing limbs while she is not out there on the front lines, like actively fighting for her country. It is something she is experiencing, and as well as the other women. And so when she comes home, she quickly realized that no one has respect for the women who was out in Vietnam. And I don't want to give too much away, but there's a point where she is reaching out to people, and they were like, "Oh, well, you have to be a veteran." She was like, "Well, I am. I was in Nam," and they were like, "There are no women in Nam." Even the veterans and the people who work with veterans were not aware that women was in Vietnam at the time. You know, it like kind of started like messing with her mind because she was like, I have all these feelings and I have all this memories of what happened, and I'm still losing sleep over what I experienced, but no one is believing that I am worth the therapy or any kind of accolades that come with being in the military and coming out alive. And so she she goes through a lot, and I was just very sad for her and the other women who were her friends. I really loved their friendship. I thought it was beautiful that they connected in the military and they continued to support each other outside of it. And they were all different races, I believe. And so it was just so beautiful to watch that, but also so heartbreaking that their stories were not being celebrated. And it was such a great book. I really enjoyed it. And then I was like, wow, Sheldina, do better, because like, how do you not know? You know what I mean? And so yeah, I gave it 5 out of 5, and I absolutely loved it. Loved everything about it. It gripped me from the start and it never lost my attention at any point. I thought it was very an emotional roller coaster of highs and lows, and beautiful, beautifully done. Yes. And I read Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This one follows a guy who's a veterinarian, and he meets a girl I forget their names. Okay, so they're gonna be boy girl. So he meets her when she brings in a stray cat for him to assist, and she decides she's gonna keep the cat. Immediately, they're both attracted to each other. So when she brings the cat back for a follow up, they decide to go on a date, and the rest is history. Now, they kind of navigate, not kind of, they do navigate a long distance relationship, which is not my thing. Couldn't do it, couldn't do it, especially in the beginning. I know that's when most people have their long distance relationship, then they come together and live together. I would not be one of those. Okay. We can only go long distance later on, and it has to be a really important reason, like you in the military. You know what I mean? So, we're watching them navigate this long distance relationship while also navigating their own lives and how they can make it work. And what I really liked about the guy in here was he was willing to do any and everything for her. He made sure that she didn't have to lift a finger, like all the heavy lifting, all the traveling, it was going to be done on him. Like he made that his mission. He was like, if I want her to be with me, then I'm gonna make the moves. I'm gonna make the moves. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to make us stay connected and to make us work. And I love that for her. I love that for her. No, but I thought it was cute. I really appreciated this. This does touch on dementia. So, again, with any books, we should always be checking our trigger warnings, but it does touch on that heavy in here. And I thought that was nicely done as well. I thought Abby took care with that. And yeah, I enjoyed this book a lot. I think I gave it 4.5. I also read The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. I read this because Ange recommended it to me, but she also sent me this indie copy, and I loved everything about this book. I was messaging her the entire time I was reading. I was kicking my feet, giggling, laughing. We're following Vanessa and Aiden. He is a football player. She worked for him as his assistant. He's kind of broody and mean a little bit, not necessarily mean, but like he's a grump. And so she decides to quit working for him. He comes get her and he's like, "Hey, I need you back." And he asked her, if you marry me, because I need my visa to be able to stay here in the US, I don't want to go back home to Canada. If you marry me, I will pay for your student loans and buy you a house at the end of it. My girl said yes. I would say yes as well. And the rest is history. So they entered this marriage of convenience, and it was such a beautiful marriage, but also a beautiful relationship because we're watching them have feelings for each other, but not know that the other has feelings for each other. But you can tell they're also navigating their life with their family and their past, and they both have things that make them feel guarded, but they're letting their guard down for each other, and they're being vulnerable and they're being honest and open. And it was beautiful. I really liked it because I thought it was light but also having deep themes. It wasn't super super heavy, but it also wasn't very cutesy fluffy. It was the right amount of depth, but still a playful, light love. And I loved it so much. It felt like a beautiful hug. And yeah, y'all need to get into this because I can go on forever, but it is beautiful and I enjoyed every bit of it. I read Her Too by Bonnie Kistler, and I already spoke about this book, so I won't go too much into it at all. I have a video up of it, but I enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4.5 as well. Yes. Oh, I didn't even tell y'all what I gave The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. I gave it 5 stars. Absolutely. I also read Deception Point by Dan Brown. This is a sci fi thriller, and I spoke about this as well, so I won't go into it, but I gave it 4.5, 4.25. I can't remember, but I really did enjoy that one. And I read Long Time Gone by Charlie Donnelly. This one I spoke about as well, and I gave this one 4.25. I really enjoyed this one. Yes. Then I read Perfect Peace by Daniel Black. This one is a domestic fiction following a family. So mom and dad has 7 or 8 kids, and their final kid, mom believes wholeheartedly that Perfect, they end up naming the child Perfect, is going to be a girl. And so when Perfect comes out as a boy, mom decides to hide it from everyone, including the siblings and dad, that Perfect is a boy. So she lets them all believe that Perfect is a girl. So she's dressing him in dresses and combing his hair like you would your little girls. And, it causes problems later on. Once he starts growing, he's going to realize his parts are different than other girls. And so it came up where she realized she had to tell him. I believe he was around like 10 or 11. I'm not sure. So she tells him and the rest of the family that he's a boy and you guys need to start treating him like a boy. No more treating him like he's a girl. Which also was like you see the dynamic change, and you can really see how like she parented the girl so much different than the boy, because when she was parenting Perfect as a girl, Perfect wore cute dresses and Perfect wasn't allowed to play with the boys outside, and she wasn't allowed to get dirty, and she cooked with mom but the boys wasn't allowed to cook with mom, and it was just like very gender roles that they were putting onto the kids. But when they found out that Perfect is a boy, one, obviously the town is not going to just be like, okay, cool. They were like, why would she do that? Who does that to their child? But it wasn't just towards her that they were being weird. Everyone was now acting weird towards Perfect, as if it was his fault that his mom decided this for him and he was not aware. And so everyone was treating him bad, and it was just awful. It was so awful to read. Beautifully written, but awful to read and to see them try to navigate the new normal. I forgot what his brother's name was, but there was a brother in there that was so special to me because he was like, I mean, you need to give him time to be a boy. Yesterday, we thought it was a girl, and he thought he was a girl. And now y'all expect him to just be out in the yard, like helping us shovel shit, And like, he's not used to that. Like, we need to be aware of that. And I just thought that was beautiful, but heartbreaking, heartbreaking story, but very beautifully written. The mom and I would have tussled. Okay. If that was my wife, we would have absolutely tussled. Granted, if that was my wife, I would have known because I would have been changing diapers, but she was adamant that could not change diapers. And he was just like, okay, because I mean, that makes life easy for him, right? You don't have to do shit. So, yeah, good book. I recommend. And I read You'll Never Know by Caleb Stevens. I spoke about this one as well, so I won't talk too much about it. It's in my most recent videos. And so, yeah, but I enjoyed that one as well. Gave it 4.25. No, I think I gave it 4.5. Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. And lastly, I read The Bridge Back to You by Riss M. Nielsen. And I wanted this one to be more. Now, it was good. I liked it. We're following two people who used to date when they were young. So in high school, they would date and they broke up. And now, after the boy's mom passes, this is very early on, he realized that his mom put her name in the will and she shares the restaurant with him. So his mom had a restaurant. When she passed, she left it to him and to his ex. And he was like, why would my mom do that? She knows we haven't been together forever. I mean, why would she do that? So they're trying to work this restaurant together, and while also not really liking each other, because when they ended on not so great terms, and not there was no communication, and so now they're navigating that. Now, I kind of wanted there to be more banter. For one, I wanted there to be more animosity. It was like they got over it very quickly. And I mean, that was addressed. That was addressed. I think multiple people told him, y'all just jumping into something really quick. But it just felt like nothing developed. And I mean, maybe that's how it is when you have loved someone your whole life and have never stopped. I don't know what that feeling is like, because when I'm done with you, I am done with you. You know what I mean? And so I don't know, but I just felt like they went from disliking each other, not wanting to communicate, to like being like, "Ugh, this my man, my man, my man," and that didn't make sense to me. But I really like Riss. I like her writing. I thought it was a cute, fluffy read. I definitely would read it as a palate cleanser. Don't expect much romance out of it. I feel like it made me almost feel like it was a cooking competition show, even though that's not at all what it was, but that's the vibe I got from it. So they're both chefs in a restaurant, and maybe that's why. But yeah, it wasn't a bad read. I ended up giving it 4 stars, so not bad. I had a great month. I enjoyed the books I read in the month of July. I'm so happy that I did. I think it's the most books I've read this year. I did say in the beginning of this year that my goal is to slow down on reading and to read less books, not because I feel like I need to take more time with them, but just because I wanted to be outside more. And I think I've been doing that. And so I'm extremely happy about that. I think I've read like 70 something books this year. And by this time last year, I think I had read over like 150. So I definitely have slowed down, and I'm happy about it. I'm spending more time, you know, with myself, with my family, and, just doing things out of the house, going to more events or traveling or whatever. And so it's been nice. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, happy reading. Bye.